Hello, everybody. This section orients you to the course website and the syllabus. So every time you enter our course site, you're going to come into it on this announcement page. And you should always read these because they contain important information. Over on your left menu, which may be minimized for you, if it's minimized, just look for this arrow. You can maximize it. And you'll see the top cluster of links, which is announcements. Email will allow you to email anyone in the class, your fellow students and so forth. The syllabus is here. I'll go through that shortly. Zoom office hours are here. Right now, they're Monday and Wednesday, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. This may change to Tuesday, and I will post it if that's the case. And when you click on it, you'll come into a waiting room and you can meet with me. I'll hopefully get your call. If I don't, then text me. The orientation meeting we had today. And then we have some course resources, which just include the textbook and things like that right now. Your modules are where you're going to enter each week. And so Foundations of Science is the first module that's open for us. Sorry about the dogs. I'm doing this from my home. And the other 4 are here, but they're not yet visible to you. This is always where you'll begin. And so this is where I will show you right now. And so I'll just show you this very first module. So you already have some work this week. Module 1, you'll click on Orientation and Overview. And you're going to just use these arrows to click through it. There's a page to meet your instructor. And the syllabus, the orientation video, which is where you're watching this. The syllabus is here. You can get a printable version here. Otherwise, you can just click through the link. And I will be going through this in a moment. So for now, I'll just click through it. And the course schedule. And then we have an orientation quiz, which is not really a quiz, but just information gathering. Now, typically, every other unit, you won't be able to go on unless you've completed the previous unit. So you'll have to go through these pages sequentially. So once you've given me your information and gone through the orientation to the course, you'll come into the overview of science. And the overview of science starts with ways of knowing. And so there's lecture on this content. And then lenses of bias, and I recommend watching this incomplete. And I put this here because I know sometimes it's hard to sit through a lecture from home. And so there are a couple of ways that you can do this and make it a little bit faster. I'll actually create a separate video for this, but I'll tell you what they are right now. You can click on the lecture and then you can change the settings in YouTube so that you can watch it at a little bit faster speed. Or you can just link to the slides, and in the slides, you'll find the audio already embedded. And so if you were to click on this link, you would come up with, let's say, something like this. This is not the one you'll come up with. This is a different chapter, but you'll come to those set of slides, and down here, you'll see the audio. And if you read a slide and you don't really know what it's about, it's not clear to you, you can just click on and play what is said. And some of them it's necessary. I don't always write everything I need to say right here on the slide. So sometimes, especially if it's something like this, where it's just pictures, it's helpful to listen to the audio. And you can do that through the slides. So you have some choices on how to access the lectures. So let me get that off the screen. So you'll watch the ways of knowing. You'll go through the next topic. You can see this is very important. You're going to be choosing your content for your topic for this class, which is kind of a big deal. So this little 6-minute video guides you through that process, and this content in your textbook helps you. And then your initial research question, drafting a question helps you. You're reading just sections of these chapters, and so you'll hopefully find these little section links to be helpful. It's not tons of stuff. It's like literally sometimes just a few paragraphs or sometimes the equivalent of a couple of pages. So continuing on to page 15, you'll come to this second section because you're actually asked to find some articles about your topic and research question. And this guides you on what peer-reviewed articles are, how we're defining them in this class, and also goes over what you're going to be required to get in terms of peer-reviewed articles. And then this last topic guides you through how to find articles using the library. And there's a video demo here as, excuse me. And then the last section is you're going to create a folder in SharePoint on the DC website, and you're going to sharing it with me. And so every time you find a paper, you're going to put it in there following these instructions and taking care to name your articles with the last name of the first author, the year, and the title of the article. So you'll get to this link right here. So kind of a few assignments for this week to get us started. And then you can continue on to take the quiz, the application, which is done in a discussion format, which I'll talk to you about shortly, and an optional check-in. So you'll see here that there are no other modules available to you at this point. But the other modules are here, but they won't be visible to you until you finish your work for Module 1. So you're welcome to work ahead if the module is available to you, but you won't ever see the next module until you finish the one you're on. So just so you know how that's working. So I'm going to go through the syllabus from this link. And so the very first thing is this is a fully online class, although I did ask a question if any of you want an optional discussion period. I can possibly arrange it. It depends on how many students are available. I am here in Saline if any of you need to meet with me face-to-face, and I encourage you to come into my office hours if you're having any questions at all, or even if you just need encouragement. You'll just click on this link, you'll be in a waiting room, and I'll admit you hopefully in short order, or I'll send you a text, saying I'm with another student or something. Your textbooks are here. This is a 4-credit class. You could expect to have 25% more work than in a 3-credit class. Much of this you can read through on your own. The ultimate goal is for you to become skillful consumers of research, knowing how to read academic literature, discuss good online sources, knowing different types of designs, detecting hyperbole or exaggerated conclusions in scientific writing, and critically evaluating research methods. You'll also be producers of research. You're going to design a research study, identify gaps in research literature, draw conclusions based on statistical results, present scientific reports, and work effectively with APA style. And you'll also all improve your skills in succinct, careful, well-organized writing. So those are the big goals for the class. Incomplete grades, I can give an incomplete to you if you have something that's pretty, unmanageable later in the semester. As long as you have 75% of your assignments completed and a passing grade, I can give you an incomplete and you can finish later. I do have the right to withdraw students from class, and I would do so potentially if you become invisible, like there's no word or sign of you for 3 consecutive weeks. I try to reach you on email and Blackboard, and there's no evidence that you're around. I'll withdraw you after big efforts to get a hold of you, so that you don't get an F on your record. If you meet any firm deadline, I'll withdraw you. I'll talk to you about what those are shortly. And if you're failing the course at the midterm grade, I might withdraw you. Either of those would first be preceded by a conversation. If you are a student with a disability, you need to get the information to me via the disability resources staff here. And I'll let you read through the rest of this on your own. Continuing on, the assessment. Half of your grade is consumers of research, and that is encompassed in quizzes and applications. Applications are done in a discussion format, and I'll share with you how that's going to work. And then the producers of research is the second half of the semester, where you'll be designing a research proposal, and you'll be doing a presentation of your proposal and critiquing your classmates. I'll give you a little example of, I have 2 papers I would share with you. I'll only share one with you. Your final project is going to look something like this. This is someone from last term with the name removed. So you can see this is informal APA style. We have an abstract. We have an introduction, a lit review full of citations. Then we have a method section that includes a design, participants, materials, and a procedure, including scripts that are going to be used and exactly what's going to happen. And this paper is particularly long. Your paper might be considerably shorter than this. This student just had a really detailed study and did a very fine job with it. You'll predict your results. This person predicted her results for a potential ANOVA test. And you'll be doing a discussion with limitations and conclusions in future research, and then a reference section. You'll also have appendices, which include all of your materials as well as your informed consent documents. Now, as I said, these are not all this long. Your paper does not have to be this long. It depends on your study. You just have to cover all the elements, and you might be able to do that in quite a few shorter pages. Every single thing you submit for your proposal will have gone through a review process. I'll be giving you feedback, and you'll need to address my feedback in your final paper. So back to the course. That's what your final proposal is going to look like, and you'll also be doing a presentation. You'll see that the grading criteria are a little bit different, and that's because C grades are what it takes to pass now, and I've decided I'll pass you with 2/3 of the points earned. So 67 to 77%, this would say, will be a C grade. And 78 to 89 will be a B, 89 to 100% will be an A. So late work is a real pain for me, and I really don't want to see any late work. However, so for that reason, I set deadlines at midnight on Tuesdays as a very consistent deadline. And that means I can grade everything in one batch instead of having to come back to it again and again, which just simply takes me a lot longer. So the weekly deadlines are Tuesday at midnight, and you'll have a quiz due. At the first half of the semester, you'll have a quiz and an application due. So there's no penalty if you don't make it. But we have 4 firm deadlines that I'll show you on the next slide. And if you miss a firm deadline, then that is, you'd have to have a meeting with me, and we would discuss whether you're able to continue. I'm going to go to the schedule and come back to the artificial intelligence. So this is how the schedule is working out. The weeks run Wednesday through Tuesday, and so your assignments are due on Tuesday. These things may change in some details, so go into the units instead of here to get what you need to do. So we're going to first start out by covering the orientation, the overview of science, then research ethics, the study of the week, measurement, and then experimental research. We may end up prolonging this, but for right now, non-experimental research is starting right after the first firm deadline. This firm deadline of September 12th is the date when all of your work for modules 4 must be submitted before midnight. So if you don't have all your work submitted, we're going to have a meeting and find out what's going on and how we need to support you more. And then we have non-experimental research, survey research, and quasi-experimental research. So at this time, October 3rd, you have 15 peer-reviewed PDF research articles that are due. I encourage you to read these articles as you get them and to take notes. I've given some details of that on the lecture. And so that'll help you in what we do the next week, midterm week, where you're gonna organize them and read all your articles and organize them. So the next firm deadline is this October 3rd deadline. And your grade will be based on work that you've done up to October 3rd. Midterm week will just be for you to organize your notes and so forth. And then you'll see that each week after that, you have certain sections of your paper due. So you're going to take your template for your final paper. You're going to add a section, submit it. I'm going to return it to you with feedback. You're going to the next week address that feedback and then add your new section. And so we're going to continue in that vein so that you'll get feedback on every section of your paper. And then by the time it's actually due in final on November 26th, then you will have written all of the sections and you'll just be proofreading, revising, writing your title and abstract and your introduction. Then the next week we'll be preparing your presentations and critiquing, delivering presentation, critiquing peers, and we'll end our class with the responses during finals week. So that is in a nutshell how we're approaching this class. I'm going to go back to this piece on artificial intelligence. So we live in a strange world. And if you haven't yet tried out things like ChatGPT, which can write anything you want for you, then you probably might as well look at it because it's up and coming technology. Sorry about the dogs again, they're eager for their walk. But I want to bring you to this slide right here. Let me see here if I can trade these. And the reason I want to show you this picture is I want you to look at this woman and see if you see anything unusual about her. And most people notice that she has a very long neck. And she got this very long neck because when she was a little girl, it was the custom in her country to put rings around her neck and keep expanding the rings so that her neck would stretch as long as it could. And the question I want to pose you is what happens if she takes off the rings? And some of you may know that without supporting her head, she will die. She will not have any muscle to support her head. And I think this is, the message of this is what happens when we don't use what we have. And the answer to that question is we lose it. And so in this class, in this time, when apps like ChatGPT can take over everything we want to do and all of our thinking, it's important for you to be able to make the wise decision about how to keep this app as your tool instead of letting the app use you. So I'll specify whether or not you can use AI. And AI comes in many forms. I encourage you to use Microsoft Word for editing, for example. The review menu, that's AI. I encourage you to use Grammarly if you've written a paper and you want to make sure it's editorially sound. But copying and pasting text out of something like ChatGPT is plagiarism. It's not acceptable. Copying and pasting a portion is not acceptable. Even if you copy paste large sections, big thing, and you use quotation marks and you cite ChatGPT, I still wouldn't want you to do it because it's not original work. It's not appropriate. You're not using your brain. And if you use an app like that to generate ideas, it's still an example of unoriginal thought. So what I want to see is what your brain can do, not what the app can do. So I'll specify if I'm concerned that you're using AI, I'll let you know. Appropriately use it to improve your grammar and structure of your writing. Appropriately use it to brainstorm ideas you might use that include citations. Appropriately use it to learn how to write, how to structure a really good response. And so we are all exploring this new terrain and we'll find out how it works for us. And we want to keep this stuff working for us. We don't want it to take us over. So I caution you about things like that. So there are a couple more sections that I'm going to do a little encouraging video where I might address this briefly again. And I think that's about all that I have for you at this juncture. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And I'm going to put you into groups because we have a little bit larger class than I thought we would. So you'll see that coming up in week 3. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm looking forward to working with you, and do let me know if you have any questions.